Temporary overhead wiring support stanchions are designed for routing electrical lines temporarily across rooftops. These stanchions typically feature a tripod base for stability, ceramic insulators to securely hold the wiring and prevent electrical shocks, and a height that ensures the wiring is at least 8 feet above the roof surface. Several manufacturers offer these products. Marinko provides temporary overhead wiring support stanchions. Polyfacer provides overhead temporary support systems. Hubble Power Systems provides temporary overhead support equipment. Cooper Power provides temporary overhead support equipment. Heaton provides O-SB-150 temporary wiring stanchions. When selecting and installing these stanchions, consider several factors. Firstly, the tripod base is crucial for stability, preventing the stanchion from toppling over, especially in windy conditions. Secondly, ceramic insulators are essential for safely securing the wiring and preventing electrical shocks. Thirdly, the height of the stanchion, typically 8 to 12 feet, is designed to keep the wiring above the roof surface, complying with safety regulations. Fourthly, easy assembly is a key feature, with most stanchions designed for quick assembly and disassembly without the need for specialized tools. Fifthly, durable construction is important, as the stanchions are made of weather-resistant materials to withstand outdoor conditions. These stanchions are commonly used in several applications. Firstly, they are used in temporary electrical installations for events, construction sites, and other temporary applications. Secondly, they are used for overhead distribution, routing electrical lines over roofs and other structures. Thirdly, they are used for emergency power restoration, providing temporary power after storms or outages. It is important to follow local building and electrical codes for proper installation and safety precautions. It is also important to use appropriate fasteners to secure the stanchions to the roof surface, ensuring they remain stable and secure. It is important to inspect the stanchions regularly and replace any damaged or worn components to maintain safety and reliability. When choosing stanchions, consider the specific requirements of installation, including the voltage and amperage of the wiring, the distance the wiring needs to span, and the environmental conditions. Also consider the load that the stanchion needs to withhold. Stanchions should be selected with appropriate load ratings. Proper grounding is essential for any temporary wiring installation. Ensure that the stanchions and wiring are properly grounded to prevent electrical hazards. Consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and safety standards. Before commencing any temporary wiring installation, conduct a thorough risk assessment to identify potential hazards and implement appropriate safety measures. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses, when working with electrical wiring and stanchions. Ensure that all workers are properly trained on safe work practices and electrical safety procedures. Regularly inspect the temporary wiring installation to identify and address any potential issues or hazards. Consider using cable management systems to organize and protect the wiring, reducing the risk of damage or entanglement. When dismantling the temporary wiring installation, follow proper procedures to de-energize the wiring and safely remove the stanchions. Consider using warning signs and barricades to alert people to the presence of temporary wiring and stanchions. Proper planning and execution are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of temporary wiring installations using stanchions. It is important to choose the right stanchions for the job and to follow all applicable codes and safety standards. Regular inspection and maintenance are also essential for maintaining the integrity of the installation. The manufacturers mentioned provide detailed specifications and guidelines for their products, which should be consulted before installation. By following these guidelines and best practices, you can ensure a safe and reliable temporary wiring installation. Proper installation and maintenance of temporary overhead wiring support stanchions are critical for ensuring electrical safety and preventing accidents. These stanchions play a vital role in providing temporary power for various applications, including construction sites, events, and emergency situations. Failure to adhere to safety guidelines and codes can lead to serious consequences, including electrical shocks, fires, and equipment damage. A thorough understanding of electrical codes and regulations is essential for anyone involved in the installation or maintenance of temporary wiring systems. These codes provide specific requirements for wiring methods, grounding, overcurrent protection, and other safety measures. Consulting with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector is highly recommended to ensure compliance with all applicable codes. Proper grounding is a fundamental aspect of electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. Stanchions and wiring should be properly grounded in accordance with electrical codes. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from overloads and short circuits. These devices should be properly sized and installed to prevent damage to equipment and wiring, as well as to reduce the risk of fire. Regular inspection and maintenance are essential for identifying and addressing potential hazards in temporary wiring systems. Inspection should include checking for damaged wiring, loose connections, and deteriorated insulation. Any damaged or worn component should be replaced immediately. Weather conditions can have a significant impact on temporary wiring systems. Rain, wind, and extreme temperatures can cause damage to wiring and equipment. Stanchions should be made of weather-resistant materials and should be securely anchored to prevent them from being blown over by wind. Temporary wiring systems should be protected from exposure to moisture and extreme temperatures. Proper training and education are essential for anyone working with temporary wiring systems. Workers should be trained on safe work practices, electrical safety procedures, and the proper use of personal protective equipment. Training should be conducted by qualified instructors and should be regularly updated to reflect changes in codes and regulations. Personal protective equipment, such as gloves, safety glasses, and hard hats, should be worn at all times when working with temporary wiring systems. This equipment provides protection from electrical shocks, burns, and other hazards. Warning signs and barricades should be used to alert people to the presence of temporary wiring systems. These signs should be clearly visible and should warn people of potential hazards. Barricades should be used to prevent people from coming into contact with energized wiring. Careful planning and execution are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of temporary wiring systems. Before starting any work, a detailed plan should be developed that outlines the scope of the work, the materials and equipment to be used, and the safety precautions to be taken. The plan should be reviewed by a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. By following these safety guidelines and best practices, you can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure the safe and reliable operation of temporary wiring systems. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. In addition to the points already mentioned, there are several other factors to consider when selecting and installing temporary overhead wiring support stanchions. Firstly, consider the type of wiring being supported. Different types of wiring have different weight and size requirements, so it is important to choose stanchions that are designed to support the specific type of wiring being used. Secondly, consider the environmental conditions at the installation site. Stanchions that are exposed to harsh weather conditions, such as high winds or heavy rain, should be made of durable, weather-resistant materials. Thirdly, consider the ease of installation and removal. Temporary wiring systems are often installed and removed quickly, so it is important to choose stanchions that are easy to install and remove. Fourthly, consider the cost of the stanchions. Stanchions can vary in price depending on their size, materials, and features, so it is important to choose stanchions that are affordable and meet your needs. Fifthly, consider the reputation of the manufacturer. Choose stanchions from a reputable manufacturer that has a proven track record of producing high-quality, reliable product. In addition to selecting the right stanchions, it is also important to install them correctly. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully when installing stanchions. Make sure that the stanchions are properly anchored to the roof surface and that the wiring is properly supported. Regularly inspect the stanchions and wiring to ensure that they are in good condition. Replace any damaged or worn components immediately. By following these tips, you can ensure that your temporary overhead wiring system is safe and reliable. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to install your temporary wiring system. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical installations, including temporary wiring. Adherence to the NEC is crucial for ensuring safety and compliance. Article 590 of the NEC specifically addresses temporary installations. This article outlines the requirements for wiring methods, grounding, overcurrent protection, and other safety measures for temporary electrical systems. Some key requirements of Article 590 include the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in certain locations, the proper support and protection of wiring, and the use of approved equipment and materials. GFCI protection is required for all 125-volt single-phase, 15, 20, and 30 amp receptacle outlets that are not part of the permanent wiring of the building or structure. Wiring methods for temporary installations must be suitable for the environment and must be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. Wiring must be supported and protected from physical damage. Overcurrent protection must be provided for all circuits to protect against overloads and short circuits. Approved equipment and materials must be used for all temporary electrical installations. In addition to Article 590, other articles of the NEC may also apply to temporary wiring installations depending on the specific application. For example, Article 300 covers wiring methods in general, and Article 250 covers grounding and bonding. It is important to consult the NEC and other applicable codes and standards to ensure that your temporary wiring installation complies with all requirements. Consulting with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector is highly recommended to ensure compliance with the NEC. Electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. By following the NEC and other applicable codes and standards, you can ensure that your temporary wiring installation is safe and reliable. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. When working with temporary wiring systems, it is important to be aware of the potential hazards and to take steps to protect yourself and others. Always de-energize the circuit before working on any electrical equipment. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. Never work on electrical equipment in wet or damp conditions. Be aware of your surroundings and avoid contact with energized wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Electrical safety is not something to take lightly. By following these safety tips, you can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure the safe and reliable operation of temporary wiring systems. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector before undertaking any electrical work.